There's a lot of options when it comes to choosing arrows, and there's a good reason for that. You want to select an arrow that matches your application. So what I have here is examples of different arrow shaft materials. Your arrow shaft is the body of the arrow, it's the main tube here, and it can come in some different materials. This one right here is a carbon arrow. Carbon is an excellent arrow shaft material. It's by far the most popular. It's lightweight, it's durable, good consistency in its straightness, and you don't have to worry too much about them bending or anything like that. If you hit something hard with a carbon arrow, you think it might be broken, just give it a quick flex, listen for cracks. If it breaks or you hear cracking, then discard that arrow. Another option would be an aluminum arrow, which is a good choice for people on a budget, or if you're shooting indoor archery, it's a really popular option. They're extremely excellent tolerances for straightness on these, and they come in larger diameters, which is really nice for indoor archery. Another option would be a wood arrow, and these, I mean, if you're really into traditional archery, you want to go back in time and shoot a wood arrow. They're a lot of fun. Your bow will be quieter, and they just have a different feeling when you shoot a wood arrow. The real downsides to these is they're fragile, they do bend, and they're a little finicky on finding the right wood arrows for your bow. A more specialty option, which most people won't have to worry about, is an aluminum carbon composite. This is an Easton X10, and there's aluminum tube on the inside and carbon around the outside of it. It's more of a specialty arrow. If you're really into outdoor target archery, this would be a great option to look at. And this is an Easton Full Metal Jacket, which is just the opposite. It's carbon on the inside and aluminum on the outside. Again, more specialty items. If you have specific questions on these, the best thing to do is to talk to the experts at an archery shop. If you thought there was a lot of options with arrow shaft material, there's even more with fletching. Now, fletching is back here, and that's what's going to steer the arrow in flight. And you have big fletching, small fletching, large profile fletching, small profile fletching, and you have feathers and vanes. It's a lot, but again, it all goes back to your application. If you're shooting outdoors, a smaller vane, which has less wind drift and less drag, is going to be the ticket for you. If you're going to be doing anything where you might be shooting in the rain or have a possibility of damaging arrows, vanes are going to be weatherproof and more durable. Feathers are great for recurve, for traditional archers who need forgiveness for contact, because a feather will move out of the way much easier than a stiffer vane. Feathers are also a good option if you're shooting indoor archery. And then there's a 3-fletch or a 4-fletch option. If you're shooting 4-fletch, you want to shoot a drop-away arrow rest. 3-fletch is a good all-around option. And 4-fletch, it looks cool that you get a little bit more stability from them, but again, a little bit more drag. Another consideration when you're choosing your arrows is your arrow spine. So could you explain to us what arrow spine is and how you go about choosing the correct arrow spine?
So arrow spine is how much the arrow flexes, and there's going to be 3 factors in determining the arrow spine: the draw length, the draw weight, and the point weight and insert weight.
And your arrow spine numbers right here on the label, they can vary by manufacturer, but typical numbers would be like 300, 400, 500, and so on. Let's say someone has a higher draw weight. Would they need like a stiffer spine or a weaker spine?
They would need a stiffer spine. So an example would be somebody drawing 70 pounds at 30 inches. You would need a longer and stiffer arrow to accommodate the energy that the bow's making.
Right. So basically what's happening is your arrow flexes when it leaves the bow, and you want to find the right amount of flex for your draw weight.
Yep, absolutely.
More or less. That's probably the biggest consideration. Other things, like you said, point weight, arrow length, and even bow design can play a part in that.
Yep.
Best thing to do is find someone like this to help you choose the right arrow spine. The last thing to think about when you're choosing your arrow, and probably one of the most important, is how your nock fits onto your bowstring. So your nock is here on this end of the arrow, and it's what clips onto the bowstring. And why is that knock fit so important?
Knock fit's very important. If the knock fit is too loose, you're going to get inconsistencies, and you're going to be able to twist your arrow around, and there's going to be a lot of side-to-side movement.
And your arrow might even fall off
Yep,
the bow as
absolutely.
you're pulling it back. And what about too tight?
Too tight, you can get what's called Nock Pinch, and when you draw it back, that arrow is going to lift up, and it's going to do all sorts of wonky things, and you're not going to get the best arrow flight.
Yeah, it's gonna, when the bowstring goes forward, the arrow's not going to leave the string very cleanly. So how do you determine what the ideal knock fit is?
I want it to snap on there nice and crisp, and I want just very little movement. You don't want it too tight, but
Right.
Yeah.
So you hear that nice click when you snap it onto the string, and then with just a tap on the bowstring, the arrow will come off. It's kind of perfect. And how can people adjust their knock fit?
you can take it up to one of your local archery shops, and they'll run some new center serving for you. That's going to be the best fix.
Yeah, and when you order bowstrings, like you're the bowstring maker at this shop,
Yep.
people can give you their knocks, or
They can tell me the size of the knock, and we can go from there.
Cool, perfect. Well, thank you.
Yep.
Well, there's all the factors that you need to consider when you're choosing arrows. Again, the best thing to do is to come to a local archery shop. The people there, they know what they're talking about. They'll be able to help you choose the right arrow for your application, whatever you want to do with archery. They'll be able to find arrows that are perfect for that. I'm Scott with Archery 360. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave us a comment, and we'll see you guys in the next video.